Stacey Lee and I started talking about Garth Brooks and how Garth Brooks, and we did a whole video on Garth Brooks. And she's like, yeah, this is how it started. And we go through the whole process, the whole thing. So we go through it. And one of the things she mentions, and I looked into it, and this is so fucking funny. Somebody, one of these people, one of Segura's fans, came up with the theory that if you take that there's a list out there. She says there's supposed to be a list out there where somebody has taken all of Garth Brooks's tour dates, and every tour date lines up with a missing person or an unsolved homicide. Every place he's ever been. Now and I asked her, I said, is there really a list? And she said, no, there's no list. She goes, I've looked, Pete looked, like we looked. There's no list. But she said, so I started trying to make the list. And she said, and I did it for whatever, she said, 5 hours, 6 hours, couple days, whatever it was. She said, and I started coming up with name after name after name. And she said, and then her husband was like, what are you doing? Like, could you get a hobby that doesn't cost us money, that's going to actually pay off?
Right.
And so I ended up saying, wow, I said, that is super interesting because, she started talking about confirmation bias and
So she went looking for missing persons reports that coincided with his tour dates.
Yes.
Okay.
And obviously there are. So I said, you know what? Has anybody ever written a book about this? And she said, no. She's who? She's like, I don't have the time. She's, I thought about it. But I don't have the time to do that. And she said, besides the amount of research it would take to do that, she's like, and in the end, she's like, what's going to happen? She's like, I'm not going to prove that he's a serial killer. So what does it matter? And I was like, it's satiric though. It's funny. And she goes, yeah, I don't have that kind of time. She's got like 2 kids and a husband. And I said, you know what? I said, I have that kind of time. I said, my buddy Pete's got that kind of time. And Pete's on the spectrum. You give Pete an assignment, you're going to get some stuff. So I called Pete. I said, Pete, this is what I'm thinking. I think we look into this. And he said, oh, absolutely. We have to look into it. And so we started doing research. And we hired 2 researchers to look up. We broke up the list first of all, just to try and find all of his tour dates. There's over 1,000 of them. Not to mention Grammys, Billboard Awards, everything, all the places he's lived. He moved here, then he moved here, then he moved here. I mean, from when he grew up in is it Oklahoma? Yeah, in Oklahoma, like at every place. So we're searching it, and we only did what we could find online, right? Like we're not flying people out to Oklahoma and going through records. We're doing what we can.
Yeah.
And very quickly, we came up with about 120 missing persons and around roughly 90 unsolved homicides that
coincided with locations and times of his tours.
With locations and times. And I am telling you, the man is a monster.
Shut the fuck up.
I'm trying to save lives here, Danny. I'm trying to save lives.
So this book is like a satirical true crime book?
I'm doing God's work.
Right.
This is God's work, Danny.
Right.
So, I mean, obviously, there's a little bit of confirmation bias in here.
Have any of those crimes been solved with other evidence of other people? Like,
no, not that. These are like
they've been linked to any other murderers, or is this all a joke?
No, there's. I literally, like, I'll give you an example. Okay, I'll give you an example. When Garth went to college, he went to, I want to say University of Oklahoma or Oklahoma State Universities, whatever, one of those. He went there. There was a woman that went to the same college that she ended up murdered, and their apartments are only a few miles away, and she attended the same college as him. Was she in his class? I don't know. Maybe. We don't know. Did he know her? Did he follow her back to her place? I don't know. I'm just saying, in general, it's pretty odd that he's connected in that way. And then it keeps going. He moves to Nashville. He's working at like the Boot Barn. It's like 3 people that go missing that were in the vicinity of the Boot Barn where he was working while he was trying to be a country music star, right? He's writing songs. He's trying out. He ends up getting a record deal with whoever, I forget. they put him, the album comes out, they put him on tour on like these state tour, you know, that they do state concerts for all the state fairs, and he's traveling around the country, and he's, you know, there's missing person here, you know, unsolved homicide here. Like, so what we did was we didn't just put anyone down. Like if I pulled the report and there was and it said, hey, you know, witnesses saw a black male with dreads. Well, obviously that's not Garth. So we eliminate that. If it said, you know, if there was anything that we could eliminate it, we just eliminate it. The police said they believe that he was a gang member and it was gang violence. Well, okay, well, that's not it. We eliminate that. And we went through all of them and put together this list, and then it you know, it starts to compile, right? You start to get, well, here's one, that doesn't work, that one works, oh, that doesn't work, you know, this is close, and then you pull out Google and you start figuring out where he was, how close was it within a mile, 2 miles, 5 miles, you know, pretty close.
Of where?
Of typically the stadiums.
Gotcha.
Because I don't know, I can't determine where he was in 1992. You know, and if he's playing the fairgrounds in, I don't know, you know, Iowa, I don't know where he was staying. I'm assuming he's sleeping on the bus, which is probably right in the fairgrounds. So 2 miles away or 4 miles away, some girl ends up disappearing. Listen, this goes on and on throughout the years. And here's another thing that's interesting.
Is this it?
I told you so.
This is not it.
What?
This is not it. Try and go 5 or 6 years ago. Look for a clip that's 5 or 6 years old. So what ends up happening, oh, by the way, here's another interesting thing. A lot of people talk about how, this is another one that they've come up with, is that Garth built this huge house.
Right.
And people are saying that he's buried tons of people underneath the floorboards of the house. You know, just like if you take gosh, what's his name? Not Bundy, not Dahmer. Gosh, what's his name? He was the clown killer. He was
I don't know. What the fuck was that guy's name?
fuck. Boy, Steven, you're not going to help at all?
The clown killer. He's busy trying to find the Segura clip, bro.
Okay, this is, I can tell you right now.
I mean, I found the earliest one, and that wasn't it. I don't know what it. I don't.
Everything else is bullshit after that. Oh, here it is. John Wayne Gacy.
John Wayne Gacy. Yes.
John Wayne Gacy, which I have a bunch of his quotes here. I should never have been convicted of anything more serious than running a cemetery without a license. So John Wayne Gacy was killing kids or young teens and burying them underneath his house. So, which of course his defense was, I found them. I just found these kids. They were dying, and I just buried them underneath the house. So like John Wayne Gacy, people are saying that Garth is burying these bodies underneath the house, and that's why they can't be found. But here's what's more interesting. When Garth got his first check, his first big check for roughly $500,000, he's been struggling. He's working at the Boot Bandit. He's trying to sell. It's been years have gone by. He's got no money. He gets his first check, roughly $500,000. Does he go buy a condo in downtown Nashville? He's living in Nashville. Does he get a new European sports car, supercar, or an American sports car? No. He goes and buys, I want to say it's like 20 or 30 acres of raw land in Goodlettsville. So this is just outside of Nashville. Well, like, and by the way, like $450,000. You spend almost every bit of your check on like 20 or 30 acres.
Yeah, but how do you know he didn't already like own a house by then?
He was broke. He didn't own anything. They're like renting an apartment.
The first big check he got, he spent it on land.
He buys a bunch of land. And guess what spikes shortly after that purchase?
Murders.
Unsolved
mysteries.
No, missing persons reports.
Missing persons reports.
Missing-
Around that area?
Yeah, of course, in Nashville. That's where he's living. Wow. Yeah. So it's, and then of course he goes on tour. The guy's been touring for 20 something years. He's got over 1,000 tour dates. It's insane.
Didn't he used to, I don't mean to derail this conversation because you're on a roll, but didn't he used to have, doesn't he have multiple personas?
Oh my gosh, I'm so glad you mentioned that. So listen, he becomes huge. He becomes huge, right? I mean, everybody knows who Garth Brooks is. Everybody. So he's huge, biggest country music song or singer ever. One of the biggest, or maybe the biggest, or one of the biggest sellers out there, and huge, tons of money. In the middle of this, he ends up taking on the person, and he's winning award after award. In the middle of this, he ends up taking on the persona of Chris Gaines.
Yes, that's who.
Remember Chris Gaines?
Yep.
You pull up Chris Gaines. Look at the photos of Garth Brooks as Chris Gaines. And by the way, he did a whole documentary as Chris Gaines.
Isn't Chris Gaines a gay guy?
No, Chris Gaines is a sex addict from.
He looks gay.
So Chris Gaines is supposedly a sex addict who was scarred in a car accident. He's from Australia. He speaks with an Australian accent. And when Garth Brooks is interviewed or speaks and he's dressed up as Chris Gaines, he never breaks. It's a complete persona.
This is known that Garth Brooks is Chris Gaines, right?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. But I mean, listen, there's a whole like behind the music, documentary about Chris Gaines, as if he's a real person. Like this is Garth Brooks.
Right.
He got a special makeup
Steve,
artist.
find us some
to come
fun
in.
stuff on this guy. Find us some juicy videos or some fun clips or anything to spice it up.
It's insanity. It's straight fucking insanity.
Yeah.
He's got
most people don't know about this. And so what is Chris Gaines? Is it music?
Because it bombed so bad.
Oh.
It was such a matter of fact, Joe Rogan talks about it.
Oh, really?
Rogan talks about how it's like one of the weirdest things to have ever happened in country music or pop culture, whatever.
Whoa.
Is it like a split personality thing?
I think they call it dissociative disorder. I want to say he put out a couple albums. You're probably going to get copyright.
Yeah, we're definitely going to get copyright for that.
Yeah. So, couple albums. There's a couple albums that came out. I think I don't know if he toured, but I do know he did several concerts as Chris Gaines. If you push, I think he actually was on like the top 100. But if that's just because these guys, they hammer radio stations and push it, like the songs are horrible.
Yeah, make sure when this goes out that they don't put any audio, or Tyler doesn't put any audio on that clip, so we don't get copywritten.
Yeah, it's disturbing. And everybody said like he would never break character, right? Like complete deadpan. Like this is just
insane. Did Chris Gaines ever do any interviews?
I don't know. That's well, yeah, he did. No, he did because they did a whole behind the scenes on it, a documentary on it. So he does a whole thing. He did several interviews with we're talking about articles and everything. And they said he never breaks. I talk about it in the book. And this is the other thing so Garth is the one that came up with the backstory and everything on Chris Gaines. So think about what the backstory is.
So if Chris Gaines is a construct, is Garth Brooks a construct as well?
I don't know. Listen, I've looked into so much stuff on Garth. Like there's one person.
Like, is Garth really him, or is he some?
That's okay. It's funny you say that because that is actually I actually found a video. It was more like a TikTok, I think, where the person basically was saying that when Garth was in high school growing up, he was really kind of a rocker, and then he realized it was easy. The easier entry level into music was country music. So he switched to country and moved to Nashville because he thought that would be the easier entry point.
Right.
Then later on in life, he comes up with the persona of, or this, some people, say, alternate personality or whatever of Chris Gaines. And then he tries to do this. He was trying to move back into who he really was. Now, this is just one person who said this. This is a girl that I watched. And so that theory is out there. maybe he was always in the country, and maybe he just got so big he decided, hey, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and see if I can, kind of like Taylor Swift. Hey, I'm going to be a country music star, and then she becomes country music. You know what? I'm going to go pop and becomes a pop star, or not pop star, or whatever it was, or rap or whatever she turned it into.
Right.
So he tried to do that, did not work. And it's just a very, very disturbing part of the story.
Has anybody ever asked Garth Brooks in an interview about Chris Gaines? Has he ever addressed it?
You understand? They're all scripted. He doesn't do just kind of a candid.
Because they've never been on a podcast.
No, I've never seen him. It's nothing like that. No. Matter of fact,
so he's never addressed any kind of allegations publicly about this.
Joe Rogan reached out and said, "Hey, I mean,
really? How do you know this?
Put in Tom Segura, and Garth Brooks and Joe Rogan."
Oh no!
Yeah, there's a whole thing. See, we should have done this before.
This.
You could have asked.
In your mom's house, in the Garth Brooks comments, sometimes the comments are like, to me, like a little comedy break from life.
They are.
I like to go, and when Garth Brooks posts something, and then I go and see your mom's house fans have bombarded the comments, like, where are the bodies?
Oh my God, when they overtake
they follow them everywhere now.
And then
Facebook, everything.
They're making jokes inside,
so
like, wait, jeans high and tight.
Confessed for the murder of my Aunt G.
Oh my God! Confessed for the murder of my Aunt G. Your DNA was at the crime
scene.
scene.
Can't find jet poo because he shit on a plane.
Get away from
on a plane. Yeah,
he shit on a plane.
Yeah,
Wait,
that was my last episode of your mom's house.
What do you mean?
Somebody who works at the FBO in Nashville sent an image from. They're like, we clean jets. We clean Garth's jet, and somebody shit all over the carpet and sprayed the floor. And they were like, "This is Garth's jet." And then the next week they're like, "I got fired for telling you."
No,
And they sent the image and they sent the video, and then so we read it and we played it.
Shut the fuck up!
And then they
seems like a violation of some NDA.
Yeah. I think he got in trouble. And then
don't do that to my
they were
jet.
saying that they said that they're not really good about paying they don't like to pay a lot of the bills for like the maintenance. And then he was like, "No, he does pay. He does pay." He
Dude,
pays
the
his
best
bills.
is Nadav and I don't know who else it was.
Dude.
Yeah,
They got into a.
So at some point during this whole thing, Joe Rogan kind of makes a plea to Garth Brooks.
Does he?
Yeah, he's like, "Listen, Garth, Christine and Tom are nice people. You should just go on their podcast. Come on the podcast. Like, go on the pod. You can talk. They're good people. They're just joking." Like, he does a whole thing. Never responds. There's no response. He's not going to go on a non-scripted podcast.
Right.
If you watch any of these videos, he's a little off.
Right.
Well, anyway, so back to the book. Here's the funny part. I interviewed 2 psychiatrists about this, and I put their interviews in the book. I also interviewed a retired FBI agent that we both know.
Oh, really?
Yes.
We're not allowed to say who he is.
No, it's Jim
Diorio.
Jim. So, I talked to Jim about, hey, look, this and this is what this is what I'm thinking. Here's what it is. And he just, of course, he laughed and said, "Oh my God, that's crazy." And I, asked him some questions, and he tells me, yeah, well, this is how it works.
Right.
This is how this works. Yeah, these guys do this and they do that. And, but some of these, look, some of the missing persons and homicides are, obviously it's a stretch. Someone was shot 4 miles away from where Garth Brooks was.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that could be anybody, whatever. It could be gang violence.
Let me ask you this. Is there any similarities to the murders?
No. It could be.
So a serial killer likes to kill people the same way, usually.
Yes and no. I actually spoke with.
Obviously, the people that aren't found, the missing persons, you can't tell.
You can't tell. You don't know. But no, there isn't. Like, there are some there. I forget what they called them. But anyway, there's some that don't have a specific. If it's non-sexual, then they typically don't have a. It's more. It becomes more. It was an opportunist. This guy, Danny, is alone. He's back here. Nobody knows where he is. I can get the jump on him. Okay. Next thing might be a woman. Might be an African-American person, might be a Caucasian. They don't really care. It's more like opportunist. So let's put that aside. There's a few of these that are, Danny, when you read them, you're just like, oh my God. Like, the description is like a guy who's like 6 foot tall, brown hair, in his 30s. This is like when Garth Brooks was.
Yeah.
This spans 20 years. Anyway, some of them are really interesting. And then some of them, like obviously there's confirmation bias, clearly, right? I'm looking at these and I'm reading them, but every once in a while I would come across one and just go, holy shit. I remember one of them, and listen, there's a bunch of them, but there's one of them where Garth has a private jet. So this is when do you remember when he tried out to be like I forget what the team was, the Yankees or the Cubs, multiple times he's tried out to play baseball. He wants to be a baseball star. He can't make the team, but he keeps donating money for them to give him a chance. Like, hey, here's $3 million to this charity. Let me try out, So he goes down to, wherever, Fort Lauderdale or wherever, and he tries out. So in one of these places, flies the private jet in. It's parked at the airport. He's playing. A guy ends up missing. And the guy's car, Steven? So the guy's car ends up in long-term parking at the airport. I mean, pretty odd. The guy ends up disappearing here next to the stadium where he's playing, and his car ends up in the long-term parking right next to where Garth's private plane is.
Whoa.
And look, there's a bunch of them. Look, when I say a bunch, there's 200 here, right? There's 200. There's some of them, take 7 or 8 of them that are pretty, you're like, wow, that's pretty interesting that like in the parking lot across the street from the stadium here, somebody ends up disappearing. You start adding them all up. And granted, it's confirmation bias. You could do the same thing with Madonna, right? She's got 1,000 tour dates. You could obviously, I could say Madonna's a fucking serial killer and come up with just as many, I'm sure. But man, bro, some of them you're like, oh, Jesus, that's really, really odd. Like really odd.
How many of them would you say are like really, really close to being like, do you think it's like really high probability it could have been him?
I mean, I'd say.
First of all, how many total are in the book?
I want to say the combination of the two, over 200.
Over 200.
So we're talking about 120 missing persons and 90 unsolved homicides.
Okay. And out of all of those, which ones do you think are, how many of them do you think are like really, 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 really high probability?
Maybe 10. And I mean stuff like Garth Brooks has a bar, Friends in Low Places in Nashville. About less than a mile away. There's a homeless person that ends up disappearing. The body's found half a mile away from Garth's bar. And Garth, by the way, lives not far from there. He's got like I forget what it's called, Blue Ridge Estates or something. He's built this massive house where he and Trisha Yearwood live. Listen, there's so many. There's one where they park. There's a convoy of trucks, right? Like 18-wheelers that stop at a rest stop. Garth Brooks is going from this state to this state. He has to go along this route. There are 18-wheelers that are parked at a rest stop. There's a young girl who's traveling to school. She travels the same route. She pulls over at the rest stop, parks there, disappears. She's never seen again. Her mother calls and says, calls the highway patrol and says, listen, she never showed up to school. The next day, they find her car at the rest stop. They ask a bunch of witnesses, and the witnesses say, yeah, I remember her. She was speaking to a guy who was 6 foot tall, had brown hair, about in his mid-30s, same age Garth was at the time. And they said that guy was somehow connected to a bunch of an 18-wheeler. I think he was either in the truck or had some kind of connection. He was connected to this truck, and then the girl disappears. And you think, okay, that's pretty odd. But what's really odd is that the girl's body was found like 2 states over a week later on the side of the road on another highway that Garth's convoy had to travel to his next spot.
Whoa.
So super, super odd. Very odd, right? Right?
Yeah, dude.
Yeah. And there's a lot of them where it's just like, hey, 2 miles away from where he was performing, somebody disappeared. 4 miles away from where he was at the Grammy Awards,
right?
Somebody was found choked to death or shot. Here, like there's those which seem random until you start adding up the numbers.
And then how do the police, how is it possible that there's never been any sort of evidence or DNA linking back to him? Like, how could he sort of get the police to cover for him in all of these incidents?
Funny you should mention that. There's one instance where 2 people were taken hostage. So when I say taken hostage, they were, I don't know if you want to say kidnapped, whatever. They're in the car. A boyfriend and girlfriend are in a car. Someone forces them to go driving. At some point during the drive, what is he? Is he taking them out to the woods to kill the 2 of them? Is he? Who knows? But they're driving with someone in the backseat. At some point, the boyfriend gets shot. The girlfriend's driving. So the boyfriend gets shot. The girlfriend panics, pulls the car over, jumps out and runs. She gets shot several times. And they find her body, 30 yards away. She's been shot a bunch of times, several times. Then the car is set on fire. Most likely, why would he set the car on fire? She's already got a body here and a body here because there probably was DNA. So whoever this is, they're very apt at covering their tracks. They're not leaving semen. They're not leaving blood. And if there is blood, it looks to me like they're aware of it and taking measure to try and get rid of it. And keep in mind too, a lot of these are 20 some odd years ago, 30 years. This is dates back to the 90s. So, maybe there's evidence, maybe there's not evidence. I don't know. Are they finding Garth's CDs at the scene? I don't know. It's possible. I'm just trying to do God's work here.
Well, I wonder what would happen if you searched like Reddit or something online and be like best evidence for Garth Brooks murder or homicide, and like see what people come up on the internet. Like, I wonder if there's any like clips or any more interesting like interview tidbits or like online investigations that people have done to try to like find some sort of connection here. What is this thing you have here? What is in this tube?
First of all, you want to see the book?
Yeah.
So this is the book cover.
Let me see.
Don't show the back of the book because it's fucked up. Just the front.
A serious examination into the allegation, is Garth Brooks a serial killer? Bodies in Low Places by Matthew B. Cox and Pierre Rossini.
So that's the cover.
God damn.
Yeah, half the book is really just the research.
200 pages.
Well, it's over 2. It's like 2 something.
211 pages.
Half the book is just the research. The first half is just basically the, whatever you want, expose.
Right.
The satirical expose.
How long have you guys been working on this?
A few months, bro. Like 6 months.
Wow.
So here's the funny thing.
Where's the chapter outline?
In the front.
What's funny, Steve?
That's where all the.
I was going to say,
that's where they all are.
I put it in the middle of the.
Well, why can't I find it?
Turn it.
Prologue. Then it goes to 1.
Oh, really?
There's no fucking chapter outline here.
Ah, what the? Oh, I think the. Yeah, you're right. Okay. That's because these are the printed versions. I typically. Yeah, you're right. Oh, well, whatever. Listen. So this is the version of the book. This is the photo that I wasn't allowed to use.
Who said you weren't allowed to use it?
The bearded lawyer.
Okay.
So a lawyer who specializes in defamation. Well, he looked at the book, he heard about everything. He was like, yeah, you can say this, you can't say this. You looked at this, you looked at it, And one of the things he had said was the photograph that I used was copywritten. But because I altered it in such a way, it eliminates the copyright.
Sure.
So I changed it so much that it becomes satire, right? Just like the book, it's satire. So the image is satire. He said, here's the problem. He'll still be able to, they're still going to be able to sue you.
Right.
Like they're going to try and sue you under saying it's copyrighted. He's like, and you'll win the lawsuit. But do you want to spend $200,000 fighting it and win to win?
Right.
He's like that's just like, don't put it up. He's like, that's his only real.
That'd be good content. Matt Cox going to court against Garth Brooks.
Oh yeah.
In a lawsuit.
Huge.
That'd be great.
So here's
might be worth it.
You
open it up. Open it up and show it.
This was the original.
That's incredible.
I like that one.
Wow.
Now, this by the way, this is actually the movie poster for American Psycho. Only I
Place the face with him.
Yeah, with Garth, right? And I did this on my
On Photoshop.
Photoshop, of course.
That's beautiful.
I did add the blood splatter,
Yeah.
blood spot, which I thought was nice. It's a nice little.
Oh yeah, that's beautiful.
I know, but he was like, "Yeah, don't." I just think he's like, it's obviously it's satiric, but
Yeah.
listen, it's a lot of fun, and my goal is to get on Tom Segura. Right? Like he's gotta jump on this, right? This is hilarious.
Yeah, it is
this is
amazing.
perfect. Especially if you actually went through the book. If he went through the book, he'd be like, holy shit, this is fucking great. And I interviewed all these people. I've weaved these interviews through the whole thing. I have comparisons to, this happened, and just like, Jeffrey Dahmer, just like so-and-so. Is this odd behavior? Well, it ties right in with Ted Bundy. And we explain the Ted Bundy. We explain all of these tie-ins. It's a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
That's incredible. What do you got, Steve?
All right, so there's like a clip of Garth saying that he wants to be a bad guy, right?
Yeah.
But then they kept on updating it, and they said a little update again, and they said they might be going crazy, but if you list the dates of some of these murders, which is the Lady Bird Lake murders, whatever that is, some of them match up with Tom Segura's touring schedule.
Yeah, there's a whole thing. So somebody took this and they did the same thing with Tom Segura. That's the whole thing. It's confirmation bias. You could do the same thing with Madonna. Anybody who's got a massive amount of tour dates,
Right.
You're going to be able to do the same thing.
Right. Did you know tomorrow is the official Hulk Hogan Day in Florida?
No, how sad, right? That the Hogan died.
Yeah, DeSantis just, and I sent you the tweet, Steve. DeSantis just came out and nominated August 1st, Hulk Hogan Day.
Nice.
Look at this.
You've
Memoriam on
you've
Thursday.
met him several times, right?
Hulk? Oh yeah. I grew up, right next to him. I used to shoot all his commercials. Thursday, July 24th of 2025. Hulk Hogan passed away, and then basically goes, to commence his life and legacy, I hereby declare August 1st of 2025 as Hulk Hogan Day in Florida. Oh, he's only doing it for 2025. I thought he was going to do it for the rest of history, the rest of the future.
Yeah, it comes across that way.
Oh, this bastard only gave him one day. That's a disgrace. Ron DeSantis.
Not sure he has to do
anything.
anything.
It should be August 1st for the rest of history. Hulk Hogan Day. It says, to commence his life and legacy,
cancer.
I hereby declare August 1st, 2025 as Hulk Hogan Day in Florida, and direct the flags of the United States and the state of Florida to be flown at half-mast at the center capitol in Tallahassee.
What did he die from? Officially,
So, you know who Bubba the Love Sponge is?
Yeah.
He's been doing all kinds of shorts on this. He's been doing all kinds of content on this ever since. So Bubba...
You did a whole episode on me and Bubba the Love Sponge.
Oh, yeah, of course. You used to go to his show.
Yeah.
You were on his show a bunch of times. Right. I forgot about that. And then he stopped talking to you for some weird reason.
Yeah. Just silly.
You pissed off his doctor friend. That's what
I pissed
happened.
off the doctor.
Yeah, that's what it was.
I shouldn't have pissed off the doctor.
So I don't know if you've seen any of the stuff he's been doing on Hulk.
I did see, prior to Hulk passing away, the week before that, he was talking about how he had an inside.
Oh, he was talking about this a month before Hulk passed away.
Oh, he was okay. I only saw it a week where he was
Steve,
listen.
see if you can find the official report on Hulk Hogan's death, his cause of death. But what I've heard basically, and this could be a little bit off, was that and his daughter Brooke did a long post about this too, who I went to kindergarten with, his daughter Brooke.
Okay.
I remember when I was a kid, when I was really young, being on the playground during pickup time, and I remember seeing, I was fucking 6 years old. I remember seeing Hulk show up every day to pick up Brooke from school. It was crazy. He'd show up in his yellow Viper. That was the first time I ever saw Hulk, was when I was going to school with Brooke. Okay. Hulk Hogan's cause of death was a heart attack, medical examiner says. Interesting. So from what I heard, and what Bubba was reporting, is Bubba had an insider apparently that was talking to him. We'll read this in a second though. Was talking to him up until, in the very beginning when Hulk first went to the hospital for this. So from what I understand is he had to get some sort of crazy neck surgery where he had something installed in his neck. He's had 25 to 30 neck and back surgeries.
Right.
And this recent one, they installed something in his neck, like a pin or a rod, or I don't know what it was. And his body started to reject it, or something went wrong because he was traveling a lot, promoting a bunch of his products. He has a Hulk Hogan beer that they came out with not too long ago. So he's been traveling a lot, doing a lot of stuff like this. And they had to go in to like correct the surgery because something was going wrong with him. And they went back in, which is not good. When you have to go in like 30 to 60 days after a major surgery to like recorrect it, that's because your body's healing, especially when you're in your 70s. It's not a good thing.
Right.
And they went back in, and something happened where they nicked, because when they go through this neck surgery, they have to go to the front of your neck.
Yeah.
And from what I heard, they either nicked his esophagus, which could be really bad, or like an artery, one of the major arteries that connect to your brain, or go from your heart to your brain. And it was damaged, and for some reason they had to put him in a coma because of that, because he was having a really hard time breathing, and like it was really like affecting him negatively. And he was in this medically induced coma, from what I understand, for like a month. I guess he went to the surgery in June, and he was in the hospital all the way through like mid-July. And Bubba was getting reports from somebody who was close to him, giving him these updates on what it was. No, everyone was denying it. Oh no, he's fine. This is, Bubba's full of shit, because I guess they were just hoping that Hulk was going to get through it. And I was seeing this, forwarding this to my friends that know Hulk really well. I'm like, yo, what is this? They were all saying, no, it's nothing. He's fine. I was like, okay, whatever. And then next thing I know, I see the report that he's dead. But I'd be curious to see what does this say, Steve? Hulk Hogan's cause of death: suffered a heart attack as well as cancer battle with leukemia. That's the first I've heard of that. Zoom in. New details about Hulk Hogan's health have emerged after his death. Hogan's cause of death was officially ruled a heart attack, with medical documents also revealing the history with leukemia. I had no idea about that. I've never heard about that before. You know what we should do? Go to Bubba the Love Sponge's YouTube channel and see if you can find a clip of him talking about it. Okay, a spokesperson for the Pinellas County Forensic Science Center told the publication that Hulk Hogan's death was certified by his primary care physician, and the medical examiner did not have a case into Hulk Hogan's death. Yeah, the post that Brooke made about this was crazy, because she was saying that she's been to every single one of his surgeries throughout his life, right? Every single one of his surgeries, she's always been there talking to the doctor, taking all the notes, detailed notes on everything, because, it's her dad. And I guess ever since, and I don't know, it seems like in recent years, for some reason, there's been like a rift between Brooke and Hulk. Like, he wasn't as close to her anymore. He'd asked her to stop coming to all the surgeries, and she thought that was weird. And there was some sort of, I don't know what it was. I guess they had like some sort of falling out. And she posted about this on her Instagram. And I guess when she found out about this recent event, it was like she wasn't talking to Hulk before that, and it was only like her husband was talking to Hulk, or Hulk's wife, or something like this. And
maybe just things weren't going as all that well, and he just didn't want her around. He didn't want her to know.
No,
like,
they
more than that.
They had a falling out way before that.
Oh, okay.
I think it was ever since he got in with his new wife. He's got a new wife he's had for a few years now, and I think it was ever since that new wife that the rift between him and Brooke started.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, okay.
But no, it was a complication from a surgery, from what I understand. See if you can find Brooke's post, Steve, on Instagram. She did a post with basically a bunch of pages of like, she wrote like this long story about it.
These wrestlers don't hold up well. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean,
I know they're
years of freaking jumping.
I know.
Onto that freaking.
They're big and they're tall, and
yeah.
So it
destroys your body.
It's way worse.
Yeah,
because they just taller people don't seem to hold up as well.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, he's been destroying his body
that
for
coupled
years.
with falling and banging and slamming and being punched and falling off, hitting concrete and people jumping on you and all. Yeah, it's all bad.
Yeah,
like none of that's going to be good. In 71.
Yeah. So I don't know exactly what it was. I think the heart thing might have been like a long thing that he's been dealing with in combination. That I think the heart problems that he had and the neck surgery gone wrong, those two things combined are kind of what I think did it.
So what I got, as soon as it hit, like I had 3 or 4 people like within probably 20 minutes, boom, Hulk Hogan just died. Boom,
Yeah, I know,
Hulk
me
Hogan.
too.
And then over the next day or two, I got a few more.
I was doing a podcast and I got out of the podcast. I had like 20 messages from people.
I actually thought about texting Bubba and saying, because I'd just seen this thing like a week earlier. I was going to text him and say, oh my God, bro, did you hear this? I'm so sorry. Because I know despite that they weren't really close, I do know that I've never heard Bubba say one disparaging thing about Hulk, about Hogan. Have you
never heard him say one disparaging thing?
No, have you?
I don't remember, but I'm sure he has. I mean, they got in a freaking
They-
vicious lawsuit.
That's what I'm
against each other.
saying. That's what I'm saying. Because despite all the stuff that happened, and I talked to him several times with no cameras around.
Keep going, Steve.
He
You'll see
never said anything horrible about him. You know what I'm saying? He never really bashed him.
She says, my husband and I moved down to Florida to be near him. He was getting older and I wanted to be there as much as possible. We had been through almost 25 surgeries together. And then all of a sudden, he didn't want me at the surgeries. Everything started getting covered in a thick veil. It was like there was a force field around him that I couldn't get through. Go to the next one. He was telling me these things, being so vulnerable with me, and heard my pleas. Then suddenly something shifted, and he made a choice to walk the path that clearly tore at his spirit. I felt a disconnect. What followed were respectful disagreements that took emotional toll on me. You have to imagine, along with this, everybody inserts their opinion, never really knowing the truth or walking in their shoes. I also got pregnant with our twins shortly after and had a very complicated C-section and a hard recovery. I actually felt it was my daddy's thick ballet of blood that kept me alive, to be honest, blah, blah, blah. Prior to this, I was by my father's side for nearly every surgery. I knew his medical history like a roadmap. When I heard about the valve surgery, okay, so it was a valve surgery, which was in a conversation I was a part of with his doctors a few years back. I had my husband send all the detailed notes from the past hospital stays. I knew deeply what that procedure meant. It was a final option, one that might buy time, but not much more. During the last 2 years, I had to step away to protect my heart. My husband stayed open, quietly reaching out to my dad without me knowing, trying to find a safe way back in for me. After my father passed, I read those messages. Some answered, some ignored, but all of them broke my heart. In the end, he continued to be a financial success for many. Oh, man. This was the last thing I wanted for him. He's been working and tearing his body apart his entire life. Oh, man. Yeah, it's sad. But yeah, I guess it was a valve surgery. I thought it was a neck surgery. I don't know.
Well, the heart attack makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
Well, it would make sense anyways, just at his age and just everything he's done and been through.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy though that he severed ties with his daughter.
And she didn't really know why.
I think she knows why. She just doesn't want to say it publicly. But yeah, weird stuff, dude. Weird stuff. It's weird that they wanted to keep it all secret too while he was in the hospital. You know, that's the shitty thing about the whole thing is like, when you're somebody like him who's like spent your whole life destroying your body to build this crazy brand that's bigger than anything in the world. I mean, Hulk Hogan is one of the most famous names in the like top 5,
right?
Most famous names in the history of the world, right? Like everybody knows who Hulk Hogan is. And you have all these people around you that are building this business and managing this business empire around you. And they're all in it for the money. They're not in it for the legacy of it. They're not in it for your health. They're not in it for your mental well-being. And they're all going to keep pushing this thing and riding this cart until the fucking wheels fall off, because it means them feeding their own families.
Right.
Right. And monetizing your brand. So that's the saddest part about all of this to me. And that happens to a lot of people, and a lot of people, even Logan Paul, right? Like it's the same thing with Logan Paul and all those crypto scams. You know, these people just wanted to make money and they wanted to use his name to do all this crazy stuff. And, you know, not trying to, you know, say Logan Paul's innocent, but he obviously played along in it. But like these people are just trying to ride somebody else's name because they see a huge opportunity to make a ton of fucking money and get rich
They're not
quick.
looking out for it.
They're not looking out for his longevity.
Of you.
They don't give a shit about his brand longevity or his health or his mental well-being. It's the same thing with Hulk. You know, a lot of people are just trying to like monetize every single aspect of his name and his brand. And, you know, and he was fucking doing this and traveling and promoting all this shit till the last days, pushing his body as far as he possibly could. Brooke Hogan asked to be taken off of Hulk's will. That's crazy. I don't know how real that is. Maybe it's real.
It was on Bubba's.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
How many subscribers has Bubba got? How's Bubba doing?
I don't know. I think he's got 129,000.
Oh, wow.
All of his content is about this Hulk stuff. Oh, he was on Piers Morgan. Wow.
Recently?
It looks like it. Go to that top right video.
That 2 days ago?
Yeah, that's right, you little rascal on Piers Morgan. I saw you.
No.
You and your bald friend.
Yeah,
the bald guy. He killed it.
So I
There
had
it
a
is.
procedure that is a very major procedure and was told to slow down and, you know, not get out for 4 to 6 weeks and 24 to 36 hours after this major surgery. He's out canvassing across America, doing the beer deal, doing the shoot style wrestling stuff. So, and you know, really the only person, and I was the only person that was reporting his true health status. And I didn't know that Vince Russo was going to be on this panel today, but that guy right there, that gray-haired guy right there is the only dude that believed me when 7 weeks ago, I was getting reports that he wasn't doing good, that he was potentially on his deathbed, that the family had been summoned, and everybody, I got so much heat and so much hate and so much vitriol for telling the truth when his wife and the Brian Blairs and the Jimmy Harts and the Eric Bischoffs,
I was calling people out.
Sure were.
these people flat out lied. They flat out lied about his condition. And I was the only one, and I wasn't trying to pound my chest and say I'm the only one. I was the only one saying, hey, this is a serious situation. I know I have inside sources, inside circles. You know, this is a very grave situation, and we may not have Terry around much longer. And it all started with a complication that he had from the stage 4 cervical surgery he had, and he was told not to, you know, but he had his beer investors and he had his folk style wrestling investors, and he has all these people that are pulling at him that probably have tens of millions of dollars invested, and out canvas, you know, you sell X amount of cases of beer in Green Bay, Wisconsin when Hogan's there, and you sell X amount when he's not there. And so I think had he actually slowed down, and you know, a guy like Kevin Nash or some of these guys that are retired and, you know, don't have to go out all the time, are healthy and are in good shape. And Terry needed to slow down, enjoy his wealth, and not jeopardize his health. I think he'd be with us today.
Cervical spine surgery is how it started. How did that end up in a heart attack?
Cervical spine and a valve. It doesn't make sense.
A cervical spine and a valve. Yeah, I don't understand. I don't understand. Maybe if you go earlier.
Valve surgeries or cervical spine? Of course, I'm not a doctor. For all I know, who fucking knows? I don't know anything.
Maybe you can ask ChatGPT. I don't know, Steve. It's confusing. But yeah, it's sad, dude.
You could ask ChatGPT what the progression of Hulk Hogan's surgeries are that led to his death. And
there you go.
It'll come out.
That's a good way to point it to do
You'll
it.
get 4 paragraphs that perfectly lay it out. Well, boom, 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 boom.
Yeah, I'm sure you could do that. See if we can do it.
Steve's like, well, you guys should stop giving me.
Steve's fucking over there, fucking steaming right now.
Yeah, I just want to.
He's like, this is the most work I've done on a podcast in
I
ages.
just want to sit here.
Oh God. And then Ozzy too. Ozzy's funeral just happened.
Oh, I have this buddy who's like, his name.
Hold on. Cervical fusion and disc replacement causes decades of wrestling especially leg drops, compressed his spine, causing nerve damage. The procedure, he had at least 6 spinal surgeries, including cervical disc fusion, where damaged discs were replaced with artificial ones or bone grafts. Nerve damage. Post-surgery, he experienced nerve pain and numbness in his extremities. That's another thing. Like 10 years ago, when I was doing commercials with Hulk, he would tell us he can't feel his fingers. Like he hasn't had a feeling in his fingers for ages. At one point, he revealed that his legs had gone numb due to nerve damage, likely from his back and spinal issues. Yes. 2023 report. Following wrestler Kurt Angle stated that Hogan had lost feeling in his lower body due to the back surgeries, which Hogan later clarified he had no feeling in his legs temporarily, but was not paralyzed and he could still walk. Fusion levels and chronic pain. He has mentioned having about 25 surgeries over the years, including multiple on his back, knees, and hips. Oh, God, including these lumbar and cervical fusions, which the vertebrae were fused. Heart surgery. Okay, 2023. In September 2023, Hulk Hogan confirmed he had undergone heart surgery. He did not provide full details, but he referred to it as a life-saving heart procedure. He thanked his wife, Sky, that's his new wife, and his medical team for emphasizing how lucky he felt to be alive. Speculated procedure, while the exact procedure is unknown, is described as serious. Possibilities include angioplasty, stent replacement, or bypass, but Hogan has not publicly confirmed it.
Okay. So it sounds like what you originally said
Combination of both
is what happened.
Yeah.